like to welcome everybody to the Coaches in the Mouth pod. It's Coach Jeff Williams along with Coach Daryl Fimple and the Mouth Brent Bender. Guys, unbelievable week 10. Before we get into it, let's go ahead and thank our sponsors. This show is powered by Lindsey and Associates, also sponsored by All-American Steakhouse in Springdale and the Pigs brand. Guys, let's get into it, Daryl. I mean, obviously the biggest game of the year last week was in 7A Central. All eyes were there. Boy, Brian is Brian, aren't they?
Yes, they are. In the rain, too. Pretty impressive how they went at Conway. Got off to kind of a slow start. Conway took advantage of a mishap on the punt game. You know, special teams played a role there. And looked like Conway had some answers there. And then I tell you, the biggest difference I thought in the game was, one, the control of the line of scrimmage. Of course, Bryant dominated up front. But they started running the quarterback. Jordan Walker accounted for 6 touchdowns in that game. You could tell his better in poise. And, they try to take some more receivers out of the game. And the Austin kid steps up with big 3 touchdowns. I just thought that it was overall, after the first quarter, I think Bryant's kind of settled in. And I think it was the theme that night was buck hunting. They were all in camouflage. Their kids were. I thought that was a great high school thing right there. But yeah, Bryant showed they're the conference champs for the 7th year in a row. They've won that in the Central show. They showed their dominance, and they have a 3-headed monster at tailback, and man, they were really, really impressive.
They are, and their defensive line, which we talk about every week, is just
he's the complete difference maker. Eli knocked downhill.
Good,
I like that guy. Long wingspan. He just dominated the game. He can keep people off him. He's got a dip move like T.J. Watt. I mean, he is a phenomenal high school football player. I mean, he's got a chance to he could be playing on the next level pretty soon.
No doubt. Mouth,
I'm sure everybody else wants him to play on the next level.
I guarantee you that. Mouth, what do you think of the big game down in Southwest Arkansas, Malvern, Arkadelphia? Coach Shucker and those guys at Arkadelphia, win the conference right there, and it looks like they got a pretty good set up for the good draw in the tournament for the playoffs.
I tell you what I took from it after the beginning of the year, where they lost to Elkins and they lost to Camden Fairview. Arkadelphia just went on a roll. Their defensive line is dominant, and their quarterback is just a silent assassin, because they played Malvern, and Malvern was coming in there 9-0 with John Fogelman as their head coach, and they beat Malvern handily.
Yeah, they did. A couple special teams play there. Malvern, Coach Fogelman's done a phenomenal job down there all year long, coming in there, and they're going to make a run in the playoffs. I tell you what, I took away is just some of the phenomenal jobs the coach has done this year. We sit there and talk about Bryant, thinks Quad Sanders guy, kind of flies underneath the radar. I don't know how, but what a phenomenal job he's done, taking over that Bryant program and just, where they're at right now. Chris Young's another guy, thinks that obviously they've got a great team, but things that they've had to deal with the last couple of weeks. Coach Overton over at Mansfield. There's a lot of guys just doing great jobs out there. But at the end of the day, we don't give awards out week 10. We give them out after the playoffs. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later on. All right, Daryl, let's get into it. Let's go ahead and hit that small school top 6.
Small school top 6. Here we go. We got some alsos. We got Prescott. It's playoff time. Coach Glass is, writing some stuff down the paper. We're not going to play our JV defense anymore. We're playing for keeps now. And the Curly Wolves know what that means. Rivercrest ran 12 plays last week. 12 plays. And we changed our punt guy. We took him out because he's leading the nation, and people stopped punting to him. So they punt the ball to this guy. We just pull this guy. He might be a freshman. I don't know. I made that up. But Kiera Morris ran one back 84 yards on punt return because they punted it. So Rivercrest is ready. That whole east section is going to be something to watch. Mills undefeated, first time. Against some also votes coming out of that league. They get a bye too, which is kind of crazy.
Set up there. Looks like them and Warren going to meet up early on, man. Looks like them and Uncle Bo are. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And that's another one we're going to talk about here in a second. Fordyce keeps rolling, big win over McGee, 30-10 this past week. Cadillac Ellison, the quarterback, they had Brandon Sludge had 3 touchdowns for him this week over McGee, 30-10. Mansfield, Daniel Burton had 7 carries for 256 yards this week. shut it down at halftime. He had 3 touchdowns. They beat Westport 42-0. Also, Boonville again.
Yeah.
We're getting physical. It's playoff time. All right, we're hoping it gets a little bit colder. They won 49-6 over Lavaca. Conway Christian, 10-0, buddy.
Well, big
10-0.
win last week over Bigelow. Big week.
Thomas Boyd went for a 78-yard touchdown run. You could see their speed on the outside. He might have sold some insurance there a little on his way. His dad's big insurance, Mario Thomas. That's where he gets his athletic. Well, actually, his mom was a heck of a player, too. Number 6. We're going to stay at number 6 of our small school, little 6. Carlisle beats up on Hazen. Tough rival game right there. Tyler Tankersley was 12 of 23 for 260 yards and 2 touchdowns. They beat Hazen there. Gavin Davis is a wide receiver, had 3 touchdowns and 137 yards through the air. Carlisle just keeps rolling right into the playoffs. Like we always say, though, it's not your daddy's Carlisle. All right, we're going to put it through the air. Bismarck's going to come in at number 5, Keithley in the gang. Hopefully they're getting healthy a little bit here to make a run here in the playoffs. They won 58-8 over Horatio last week. Osceola is going to slide into 4. Osceola is going to be 4. They beat Manila last week, 35-8. Tyler Bale, Jeremiah Jacobs is leading them in rushing. Adrian Haynes is their big wideout on the outside. They can score some points for them. Really good on defense. Osceola is. We've seen that in, week 8 against Rivercrest. Number 3, Arkadelphia. They figured it out. The Badgers win for a reason. They're really good. They figured it out offensively, defensively. They've been really stout. Had a big win over Malvern, 34-23 this past week. Jay Purifoy caught 7 passes, actually 9 passes for 150 yards and a touchdown. Quatavius Maris also had 2 touchdowns through the air. We all know about the quarterback. Bryson's a phenomenal player. Number 2, because it's playoff time. And I also watched that game a little bit, too, on Thursday. Yeah. They have a giant blow-up, too. It's a big lumberjack. He's awesome. He is awesome. I don't even know how they do it. It's a big lumberjack. He's up the whole game, too. Warren beat CrossFit 42-14. Antonio Jordan. Cameron Burks has been moved to, they've been playing him at quarterback. He's finally coming around a little bit. I think he's figured out how Bo, and Bo, and remember, he practices everybody 7th through 12th grade, so everybody's eligible this week. He can move anybody. They all know the passing tree. Everybody knows the passing tree at Warren right there. Number 1 stays in our spot. They have been all year long is Elkins. Elkins keeps rolling 42-0 this past week over Huntsville. I think they're staying healthy. Ben Napier, their quarterback, trigger man. Coach Watson's got those guys rolling, and they are really good on defense. I mean, really good on defense. I don't think they're only giving up like 9 points a game in conference play. So Elkins is definitely our number 1.
Well, I like your list. I like the top 6 there. Boy, you talk about, Warren and Elkins all kind of, and Mills all on the same side. Arkadelphia really got the
Elkins,
best draw.
Warren, and Arkadelphia. Yeah. I mean, somebody's going to get beat out in the semifinals.
Yeah. And you got Arkadelphia sitting on the other side. Then, of course, you're getting that 3A with that East over there. It's going to be a lot of matchups. All right, head to the big school top 6.
Big school top 6. We got some alsos. Robinson showed up. They are capable of beating anybody. They can do it through special teams, offense, defense. They find a way. You turn the ball over. They're a really well-coached team. I like Coach Skolich saying, "Hey, look, I just thought we were better than Maumelle." That's what he told us. That's what he told his understudy. Coach Moffin's probably going, "What? What's that guy doing?" But he just said, "I thought we were a better football team." They've done it through the air. Braden to Muhammad this past week was the big thing there to beat Maumelle. And like I said, they're on a roll. They know what it takes to win. I think they could make some noise. Fayetteville, offensively, they're on fire right now. Yeah. They're 53-7 over Harbor. The Odom kid, Delamar, they got so many weapons. It's unbelievable. It's just can they get stops? Fayetteville's defense is going to be a little question mark. Farmington.
Yeah, Coach
Farmington rolls in there as also 27-15 win over Alma. That was Coach Tice's 14th conference championship. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. 14 conference championships won by.
The guy took some time off. Guess what? He didn't forget.
No. He didn't forget. He did not forget. That's for sure. That's going to cause a lot of thinking this offseason. You watch, and we'll get to that later on. Aiden Lester leads Farmington's attack. Defensively, they figured it out since the Morrilton, whatever that was. I'm sure they just kind of wadded that up and threw it away. Valley View's still rolling up there. Harding Academy is coming on.
Yeah.
The last 3 games, Owen Miller's figured it out. It's thrown for almost 700, over 700 yards. Pulaski Academy, I think they're going to be the sneaky team.
Yep.
In the 7A. I really do. I honestly think they could get matched up with some people in the West, give them some trouble. And you got to watch out for Cobb. I mean, he's over 3,500 yards of total offense. Rogers gets some also votes there too because they've got great quarterback play in Jeff Reagan. And man, you want to talk about a great job that we think Coach Harbison's done up there. Now, for our 6. You ready for this?
I'm ready for this.
If you get beat in the top 6, you get dropped down or you get dropped out of the top 6. It's crazy how this thing works. Number 6 is going to be Conway.
Conway.
Oh, Conway's going to drop from 4 to 6. Conway showed this last week that they weren't just exactly ready for what happens. They have to figure out a way to run the football, keeping people off balance. You can see that Bryant was trying to drop a lot of people into coverage there. So we're going to drop them to 6. They lost 49-14 to Bryant last week. Bryant showed that they're still the bully on the block. Number 5 is going to be Bentonville. Bentonville's gotten really physical, running the football, playing really, really good on the defensive side of the ball too. Settled in at quarterback there. They got a big win over West, 42-13, and luckily nobody got hurt. They had 409 yards of offense. They had 187 yards on the ground against West this past week. Number 4, Benton, the Panthers, baby. They are explosive. And they didn't even have their quarterback.
The quarterback was out. Coach Harris texted right before the game. I was concerned about that a little bit, but my gosh, man, they rallied around.
Yeah, he was really concerned.
Yeah, I know. And they're
have you not been watching this guy on the scout team? Because this guy put up some huge numbers.
And went into that, goes on the road to Marion.
Yes,
it does that.
Win a conference championship.
I tell you what, they're kind of getting it together at Benton.
Yes, Benton's Chase Cobb was the sophomore quarterback. They ran it really well with Luther Tucker had 3 touchdowns for them. They're still averaging 55 points a game. And like I said, they did a great job of stopping Marion. I mean, 55-10, they were never even challenged. Number 3 is going to come in as our Parkview Patriots. And boy, were they challenged.
Woo.
Late interception, pick 6, kind of turned that game around a little bit. It was back and forth. The Fighting Bonds should have put up a heck of an effort. Cameron Settles had 4 touchdowns in that game. Camden ended up, getting beat 38-23, but it was 24-23 with about 8 minutes in the fourth quarter after the big turnover there. It kind of changed the momentum of the game. And like we said, Coach Vaughn and his kids played a heck of a game, but man, Parkview just finds a way. They can gut it out, and man, defensively, they are so fast. Number 2, and I'm telling you, these guys, I would love to see a matchup after this if we ever had an overall, because Greenwood is just phenomenal. They're phenomenal on offense and defense. They beat Mountain Home 42-0 last week. It was the 68th home win. They have a 68 home win streak. Hey, guess what? It's the playoffs. They're playing on from here on out. That streak might get a little bit bigger there at Greenwood. Archer, 16-17, 162 yards, 1 touchdown. He had 11 carries for 143 yards. Now, this is the greatest Archer stat there is. You ready for this one? I got this from Tim Terry, their broadcast guy, radio. I stole it off the internet. Sorry, Tim. He's a tech guy. He'll let me have it. He has 44 touchdowns. Guess how many incompletions dude's got on the year? 44 incompletions.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not counting drops. We're not even going to throw those other guys in the ground. Our man Archer's got 44 incompletions on the year. So, I mean, that's unbelievable to me.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
He's got as many touchdowns as incompletions. Think again, though. This guy's playing 3 quarters, maybe max, because they're being nice to people right now. They're not going to be nice though from here on out. There's no more nice guy. All right. Also, his brother got a sweet tattoo too. You got to see it. It's pretty awesome. Follow those guys. I'm a big Archer fan. Number 1, of course, Bryan Hornets. They're going to stay in our number 1 slot. Beat Conway this past week, 49-14. It was actually their 6th consecutive conference championship. Eli Hill, phenomenal defensive end for them. McDonald inside just makes it really, really tough on people. Jordan Walker was fantastic. He had 6 touchdowns were accounted for. They had 530 yards of total offense. Good gracious. 530 yards of total offense. You got to start. think too, they ran the clock.
Yeah.
Now we got some subs in. We're still 530 yards of total offense. Kamari Austin had 3 touchdown catches on the night. Conway did do one thing. They slowed down Ratliff. He only had about 3 or 4 catches down there.
Yeah.
They took him away, but there's just so many weapons they've got, and then they just line up, and if all goes bad, they'll run Walker now, or they'll run one of the tailbacks there. So Bryant's going to remain in our top spot going into the playoffs.
I like the top 6, and I'm going to make this statement. After watching that game, I think there's a big distance right now between Bryant and everybody else. I mean,
oh gosh, yeah.
I mean, just
you're going to have to, somebody's going to have to go to Bryant to do it.
Yeah.
They're going to get a week of rest here, and then you have to go back and try to play them at Bryant again.
Yeah, unbelievable. Well, let's do this. Hey, we had games on Thursday last week. We had games on Friday, so we're going to have two player of the weeks this week. Let's go ahead and start it off with the Thursday game. I believe it was Cersei and BB. Talk to us who our player of the weeks are this week.
Curtis Goodwrench, 31 carries, 194 yards, and a touchdown against BB in a huge game for the Cersei Lions. He's going to be our player of the week for Thursday, right? I mean, we're going to do Thursday, Friday right here. And, of course, on Fridays, it's Jordan Walker and the Bryant Hornets. Jordan accounted for 6 touchdowns. Like I said, offensively led them with 530 yards, had well over 200 yards of total offense himself. And like I said, he added a whole new dimension by being able to run the ball and get out of stuff. And like he's a load too. I mean, he's not like you're bringing down. I mean, he's a load to bring down too in the open field. So Jordan Walker's going to be our co-player of the week too. But we had a lot of people cooking. There's a lot of good players. You know, Creed Vega. I know. I'm sorry, Creed. I mean, Creed was just straight cooking people. 391 yards. And he's going to make me want to wear my chef's hat. Creed was the chef, buddy. I mean, 391 yards of total offense and 5 touchdowns. He's getting after it. And I think his dad fired them all up because I picked against him.
Yeah, he did. I think I got a text saying, tell Coach Fimple that he probably should have took the sand lizards and everything. So, let's quit. Let's quit messing around. Get to it. Let's go ahead and bring our Lindsey Associated guest picker on. This guy needs no introduction. Everybody knows it throughout the state of Arkansas. One of the top Hall of Fame coaches, greatest ever coach in the state of Arkansas, Coach Barry Lunney. Coach, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to be here. I've been enjoying listening to you guys and recapping last week, Thursday and Friday. So it's a lot of information. It was good for me to hear some of that, what's going on around the state of Arkansas. I was just reminiscing a little bit about places that I've coached. You mentioned Fordyce. I was down there for 1 year, and BB was where my first head coaching job, and so very familiar with Hazen and Carlisle and that big rivalry there. It's fun to get back acclimated and hear what's been going on. I keep up with it some, but not to the degree you guys are.
Well, let's start off with this, and I want to ask you this question because we got a lot of guys that are on bye weeks this week, and you went through that, and I could use the example which you used on me one time in the bye week, and talk to me what you.
Well, did it work? Is what I want to know.
Well, it did. I'll tell the story. I believe it was 2008. Coach has a bye week, and he decides, they didn't have a great running back. So they took a kid named Baggett, goes over, plays, was the outside linebacker. Comes over and plays running back for him a little bit, and he busts one in the state finals against us for only 91 yards. I'll never forget it as long as I live. But talk to us a little bit what your thought process when you were a coach on a bye week. You're off the playoffs and that part of it. These other guys.
Jeff, I don't know that there's a good answer. I mean, I fought that throughout my coaching time and when I had bye weeks. I think a lot of it, probably depends upon your kids and how they are. Just trying to discern your team and your leadership and what may be necessary with them. I think that if I was to go back and give advice to it, I think that was the thing that we tried to do, is just try to, is this team mature enough? Obviously, when you get in the playoffs, you should have a fairly good amount of leadership and a good good team in many ways, but still, you just never know how they're going to react and what they're going to do. And so I've done it differently, but that year, 2008, to your point, we were really a very good defensive football team. It's probably one of the best defensive teams that I had. I think we had, I'm gonna be close, somewhere between 44 to 46 takeaways that year. Our average starting position on offense was like our own 45 or 44, 42. I mean, which is incredible, right? I mean, you don't have very far to go. We had a sophomore quarterback. So we used that week to, here we are. If we're going to have any chance again in this game against a very good defensive football team that you had, we took some of our kids and started working them both ways. There was I think we had 4 of those that were starting on defense that I think we alternated a couple of them on offense at running back, maybe 3 of them actually. So we did make some changes, trying to bolster our running a game. We didn't throw the ball very good, and then we lost our quarterback, as you know, the first drive of the game, and we went back to our backup. So it paid off for us, really emphasizing the run during that week. Certainly you try to get kids kids that are beat up, but I was always more afraid of losing the continuity, the flow. As coaches, part of like these coaches are facing right now, you really want your team to be peaking at the right time. You watch these basketball tournaments and those teams that get by as they set out the first week or so and they wait around while the other teams are playing. That's a hard thing to recapture, that flow, that momentum, that routine. And so I think that's the danger that so we tried to get people well, but at the same time not let them off. We used some time for some full ones-on-ones during the week to try to keep us in that flow. And you know how, Jeff, when you were at Southside, that at that time, that game between Northside and Southside was the last game of the year. It was such a huge game in the state, in that community, that it didn't matter who you played round 1 the following week. It wasn't going to even come close to the atmosphere that Southside Northside game had. And there was always that, you got a week off and then you got that emotional thing to deal with. That was really much more difficult in that environment where you're playing your rival at the week 10 and then get a bye on top of that. That's what scared me more than anything, is just worrying how to recover get the kids back emotionally after what you did on week 10.
Well, it is, and you're talking about that first quarter when you go out, kind of get back in the rhythm, and it's a rhythm game and everything. Well, all right, guys, let's get into it. We got first round games. It kind of feels like we're going back to preseason. We know we checked everybody's resume on this whole deal for 10 weeks or so. And at the end of the day of it is, we're getting crossover conferences here. Ought to be some great matchups. Daryl, let's head down to South Arkansas. We got Cross County. Van Pascal's done a great job over there of getting that program in his first year. Headed down to Junction City. Junction City, if you talk to people at the beginning of the year, it said there's the win, and they've been up and down, but got back on course in their conference. Talk to us and break this down for us, Daryl.
Well, it's Junction City at home too. Cross County is going to make the trip there. Like we said, Coach Pascal, everywhere he goes, he wins. They beat Earl last week 30-0. Junction beat Spring Hill 59-30. If you look at their points here, you've got Cross County's averaged about 35 points and giving up 17 on the year. Junction's averaged about 32 points and giving up 22. Of course, it also plays into like their conference play too. Yeah. I think it's a little bit different that way when Junction's down there with Murfreesboro and Mineral Springs, who Mineral Springs actually beat Murfreesboro this past week. We might have been arresting some people, the Rattlers. They were arresting some people in the playoffs. And here's the other thing, too, and Coach Lincoln probably speak on this. If you're at a smaller school, you might have a 9th grader. I mean, we might be playing a 9th grader, this in the playoffs. If you got a bye week, of course, these guys don't, but, you could be moving up somebody that could make an instant impact, especially on that level. So Cross County's going to make this trip. I think Van Pascal's had a great season. I think they've kind of formed their identity a little bit there. But, man, Junction City at home, and it's playoff time. I'm going to take Junction City in this one.
Taking Junction City. Mouth, who you liking this one?
Man, this is gonna be a tough one to pick. A great first round playoff game. I'm gonna go with Junction City.
Going Junction City. All right, Coach Lunney, we were talking about down south here. I mean, Junction City's had they are real familiar host of playoff games. Who do you like in this one?
Well, I'm gonna go the other way. When I looked at this, and I don't have my list in front of me, I can't get it on my phone, so that's another tech deal. When I looked at this the other day after you and I talked, it's hard. I mean, you're going against, traditional history, and that's not good always to pick on that. But I don't know. Van, Coach Pascal, I've just known him for a while. I just know that I think he has a way of really relating to the kids and really connecting with his kids. And I'm not saying that, that they don't adjust to, but I just know Coach, and I know him, and I know that playoffs. I'm going with the gut. It's a long ways to go, but for some reason I just feel like that's maybe an upset. I don't know who the state's picking, but going to be an upset on this show maybe.
I got Coach Lunney. Coach Lunney's taking Cross County. This one here, I tell you what, I've been back and forth with, and I'm with Coach because I think Van Pascal, he knows how to do it in the playoffs. Coach Ball's done a good job. Yeah. I think they're playing at home, and so I'm gonna go with Junction City on this one here. All right, headed over to God's country, we got McGee headed over to Newport. Newport ends up finishing third in that league, Daryl, which is probably the most stacked conference there is. There's no doubt in all classifications. Who's got an outstanding, and they've got a chance to win the whole thing too. But they're the third seed here. So talk to me a little bit about this. McGee has a loss last week, but they've been in the mix also.
Yeah, McGee lost to Fordyce last week, 30-10. Defensively, McGee's really a solid football team. They are averaging about 28 points a game, giving up 17. They have to travel to Newport, and I think this is like a flashback to the 90s. You got McGee and Newport. I mean, what two names that are pretty much big into playoff football for sure. Newport's at home. Keandre Barker he's over 1,200 yards rushing. They're averaging 44 points. They can do it several ways. They got all kinds of weapons offensively. They are really good. They're averaging 44 points a game, giving up 22. They're playing at home. I'm going to take Newport in this one.
Taking Newport. All right, Mouth, you've been to Newport. You're very familiar with that program. Talk to us a little bit about the McGee Owls coming in.
Well, the Owls are going to have their hands full Friday night. That's all their beaks are going to be full. I'm just going to tell you. Newport's averaging right at 50 some odd points a game. Keandre, running back, former player of the week. He's just outstanding. Newport's got great team speed. I'm going with Newport.
Going with Newport. All right. Coach Lunney, Newport. Daryl hit McGee, Newport. Those are some two legendary programs right there. Break this down for us.
Billy Warren.
Yeah, Billy Warren.
I'm going with Newport. I just the tradition. I just think the league also, as Coach Fimp talked about, it's just that preparation week in and week out just pays huge dividends when you get to playoffs.
I think so too. I'm going with Newport, and I'm with Coach. I think they've battle tested, and if they can stay healthy, they've got a shot to make a long run. All right. Headed over to Northwest Arkansas. We got BB, who played a great game last week against Searcy. Coach Bingham's done a phenomenal job. First time he told me they've been in the playoffs in 100 years, it seems like. If they're headed up to Coach Tyson, Farmington Cardinals, Farmington's rolled right through the 5A West. That's the biggest question. How strong is that the 5A West League? What didn't fare well in the playoffs last year? What are they going to do this year? Daryl, break this down.
Well, the 5A West has been one of those that, you've got different ways. Each team's different. And like Greenbrier last week came on, and Farmington's finding a way to stop people defensively now. Aiden Lester, it all starts with him at Farmington, the quarterback. He had 191 yards against Allen, 2 touchdowns, both of them coming late into the second half. I think their defense played extremely well last week. They did give up a big play on special teams, though, to Alma, and a 95-yard kickoff return, so they're going to clear that up. That was Coach Tice's 14th career conference championship we talked about. He even got a picture with Coach Vines before the game. He even got Coach Vines to come. But you know what? Alma lost. You know why? Because they still ain't named the field after. I mean, God, it's one thing. Just stop the curse.
Long, man.
Stop the curse. I'm telling you. BB, what a phenomenal season they've had. They've got just an amazing effort from their kids. Got some big wins. Like I said, they had a tough loss last week. They're averaging about 22 points on offense. They're giving up 12 on defense. Coach Tyson Farmington's averaging about 30 points and giving up 19 on defense. So it's just an absolutely a battle right here. But I think BB going to Farmington is going to be a problem. I think Coach Tice will have those guys ready with that veteran staff that he's put together. So I'm going to take Farmington at home to continue on the Cardinal way. And here's a question for Coach Lunney. With Coach Tice's success, how many phone calls are you accepting? Because there's got to be some openings going, man, if I can get Coach Lunney out, just give me 9 months. You don't have to go through spring football. Just give me Lunney back for a little while.
Oh, mercy.
Yeah. So you like Farmington, huh, Daryl?
I'm taking Farmington.
Okay, taking Farmington. Mouth, who you like in this one?
I am going straight Farmington and Tommy Tice doing Tommy Tice things.
No doubt. Coach Lunney, you coached at BB for a year, and you got a Coach Tice.
I saw this one. Can I do a Kenny Smith deal and just take somebody because of the relationship or the popcorn vendor or something, do what Kenny did. But, it's going to be hard not to go with Farmington. They've been winning. Tommy's also, obviously continued that in his way and is an outstanding coach and a dear friend. And I think the home field on this one probably does make advantage. I'm really intrigued with it. I was a little bit close. BB's defense is really good.
It is.
And I look at the linemen and defense, first. I'm still old school. I know everybody loves the other stuff, but I'm going to have to go with Farmington in this one.
Coach Lunney's going Farmington. I'm going Farmington also. I think this one, it will be extremely close. BB does a lot of stuff in special teams. Now they returned a punt last week. They do a phenomenal job in that area. They can line up and run it. They've got some speed out there, 100-meter champion. But I'm going to go with Farmington. I think, like Coach Lunney hit, home field advantage, I think is going to be a big deal in this one right here. All right, head to Central Arkansas. You got Greenbrier, who is another 5A West team, headed over to Maumelle. Maumelle gets crushed last week by Robinson, but Robinson's been crushing everybody. Maumelle's had a up and down, kind of got on the right track. Greenbrier's been kind of the same way, up and down, beat Bologna last week. Daryl, who's going to show up, and what do you see in this one?
Yeah, how about them beating Bologna last week, 21-0? I mean, that's the thing about Greenbrier, and we've seen them. They beat Bo early in the weeks, and I thought, wow, man, they can really line up and run the football at people, and they have. They've got the leading rusher in the state of Arkansas. Hassan's got over 190 carries for over 1,700 yards rushing, and he's something to watch. They're averaging 33 points on offense. Greenbrier is. They're giving up 20 on defense. In the 5A West, you got Maumelle gets to play a home playoff game, which is kind of huge. Isaac Henry, Warrior Benson, their quarterback, and really explosive offensively, especially the Henry boy, and he plays defense too. They're averaging only 24 points a game. They're giving up about 14 in this one. Maumelle's at home. I think I picked them early too, and I haven't picked them since.
No.
But something's got – I think Coach's got a plan here. I think we're going to run the ball, be physical up front. I'm going to take Greenbrier on the road.
Oh, Greenbrier on the road. Wow.
On the road, because like Coach Lunney said, Maumelle and Robinson, that's a big, huge rival. Yeah. Those guys coach together. It's hard to come back right off, and you don't have a bye week here to get ready. I think that, Robinson might beat them twice in this game. So I'm going to take Greenbrier.
Well, we've seen that a bunch this year. Teams beat them 2 weeks in a row. That's happened a lot. All right, Mouth, you were just over at Maumelle last week. Talk to us a little bit about this one.
I tell you what, both Greenbrier and Maumelle, they remind me of they remind me of each other. The way their seasons have gone.
Yeah.
Some weeks you think Greenbrier is unbeatable, Maumell's unbeatable. Then they have a hiccup. Then I think they're both. I think it's a pretty evenly matched game, to be perfectly honest with you. But I am going to go with. I'm going to go with the home team. I'm going to go with the Maumelle Hornets.
Going with Maumelle. Coach Lunney, this is very interesting. Maumelle is getting healthy a little bit. Greenbrier, Coach Tribble, you know him.
Yeah.
They always do a good job over there. Talk to us a little bit about this one.
I am as well going to go with Greenbrier. I think that I'm sitting here listening to Coach give the offensive and defensive stats, and I kind of chuckled to myself. I can remember back in the long time ago, so our setting our defensive goals up every year, 9 points a game. This is what we on average, 11 points a game, 12 points a game.
Yeah.
And then all this nuts start throwing the football around. And now, I said, we're going to have to readjust these boards, these goals. And it just killed me to have to say, if we can hold somebody to 21 points or less, we got a good chance to win the game. It's just strange, but I hear these stats, and I think Greenbrier, they can run the ball. Their defense has been very solid. I just think that they got a chance. I think they've been a little bit more steady than Maumelle has been. So that's where I'm going.
Going with Greenbrier. I think this is pretty evenly. It's styles are funny, which styles make games. I think Maumelle, I know they got beat last week, but they've gotten healthy a little bit. And that home playoff game's a real big deal and should be a great atmosphere. I'm going to go with Maumelle in this one. I think up front wise. Now, both of them got good line, but I think the defensive line at Maumelle will give them some issues. All right, here we go. This is unbelievable right here. We're going with a 6A East team in Sheridan. Kevin Kelly, who got the Yellow Jackets in the playoffs, headed up to Mountain Home. He's had a phenomenal season. Got crushed last week by Greenwood, but everybody else has. So having to go all the way up there. This is an interesting one. Coach Kelly, onside kicks and things like that, and they're getting a little better as the year goes on. Talk to us a little bit about this one, Daryl.
Well, Sheridan offensively is really, don't look some huge numbers. It's just the defensive spot. And man, it'd be tough to be his DC. Like, Coach, are you sure we want to go for it? We just punt. Like we said, at the first of the year, the punter might have transferred. Lost last week to El Dorado 84-49. But I'm going to tell you about Sheridan being explosive. They have a kid named Isaiah Stevens who's over 1,265 yards rushing, 15 touchdowns. He has 768 yards receiving on 53 catches for 7 touchdowns. He has 490 yards after the catch. He's explosive. He's just a sophomore. Dax McMillan, the quarterback at Sheridan's, thrown for over 2,400 yards and 24 touchdowns. And like I said, they're averaging 32 points a game on offense, but they're giving up 28 on defense. Like I said, they've rolled into the playoffs, which has got to be the first time for Sheridan in a while. They have to travel to Mountain Home, who might be one of the best coach teams we've seen. If they can get healthy at the right time, probably hurts them not getting the bye week. But you got to think he was probably smart enough in the 42-0 loss to Greenwood to probably rest some people up. Jacob Chenoweth is their bell cow there. They like to run the football. They are a lot better at home. You can only imagine because of the travel. So I'm going to take Mountain Home in this one at home.
Take him out and home. All right, Mouth.
Two contrasting styles.
Yes, sir.
Sheridan, the one thing that pops up in my mind that will always come to the forefront of my mind is the scoreboard that Pete Park sent me from El Dorado. 84-49. Geez Louise. I think in this game, Mountain Home's going to cut Sheridan's possessions way, way down because Mountain Home's with Chenoweth is going to run the rock. They're going to run the ball, and it's hard to onside kick when you don't have the ball, when you're not getting the ball and scoring. I'm going with Mountain Home.
Mouse going with Mountain Home. Coach Lunney, Mountain Home's been, a physical playing defense team. Kevin's there, Sheridan's first year trying to rebuild that program. Has done a good job. Talk to us a little bit about this one.
Well, getting the Mountain Home from anywhere is a challenge, and it was like going to El Dorado. I mean, it's it really is. It's hard to get there, and that you can't really measure what effect that type of travel has on your kids. It's we got to where we would go. We went to play El Dorado probably when you were there, Jeff. I'm sure we went and spent the night at Texarkana.
Yeah.
It's just hard to get there and get off the bus and travel, and it's a hard place. And Mountain Home is really set a culture of defense. I know they do a lot of good things offensively, but I know their coaching tree there and all, and I think that's defense kicking game was said. Somebody said, I can't remember which one of you said it, but it's you're not going to get many possessions more than likely there, and so if they are getting stopped and having to punt from deep in their field, which they don't punt, do they? They go for it down. They use that word tongue in cheek. I think that Mountain Home's probably going to not only win it, but win it convincingly.
Oh, Coach Lunney's going with the statement game here. All right.
I don't know. I just got a feel.
That's all right. Well, I'm with you. I think Mountain Home is they've had some injuries and things, but they're, and Daryl hit it. They're a different team at home than they are on the road. Even though they can play on the road, and they've proven that they're different. And Kevin's got it. But you know how it goes, guys. Couple long passes, couple get some onside kicks. Things can get all screwed up. But I think Mountain Home has the better football team. All right. I think this one might be the toughest one on the whole list. We got Searcy, who just had a huge win against BB Thursday night, headed over to Morrilton. And this is a matchup deal. Morrilton scoring all kinds of points, obviously. Two very respected coaches. Zach Clark and Cody McNabb. You don't get any better than that. Daryl, break this one down. I still hadn't made my choice on this one.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Curtis Goodrich is the tailback for Searcy. It's coming off a 31 carries, 194 yards performance against BB, which Coach said, BB's really good defensively. They've got some, quarterback play this year for Searcy's been good. Johnny Bell's led him behind there. He's 124, 195 for over 1,700 yards, 13 touchdowns. Hadn't had a lot of turnovers. Searcy has kept the ball pretty clean in most games. They're averaging 31 points a game. They're giving up 22 defensively. They have a cornerback, Derek Young, who had 7 interceptions on the year, but they only got one of him. That's the problem. Because Morrilton's got 3 dudes on the outside over there. Maddox Berry's their quarterback at Morrilton. He's led them threw for 11 touchdowns against Farmington. Maddox Berry on the year is 194 of 306 for 3,400 yards and 45 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's.
Dante Cox has over 800 yards receiving. Jamarcus Sanders has over 800 yards receiving and 11 touchdowns. Andrew Roden has over 1,200 yards on the season. You just heard me right there. And 21 touchdowns. And we only got one guy can cover people, looks like it's Searcy. So we're outnumbered here. Morrilton's playing at home. They're looking to get some stops. They're giving up 29 points on defense. They're averaging over 40. So you've got a 9-point differential between the two of them. And like I said, this is a huge game for both programs. Both programs could advance right here and make a statement in this game. So at home, Morrilton's at home. So I'm going to take this back, but I'm going to go with Searcy Lions.
Oh, go with the new line.
I'm going with Zach. Last time I picked the McNabbs, we lost. That's the only time I picked them all year long. I gave people Farmington. Sorry, Cody. Two well-coached teams, by the way. I'll throw that in there.
They are there.
And both cities, I'm sure, are fired up. So
all right,
it'll be good.
All right, Mouth, you're probably going to lose a friend over this. It's okay, though. You live there in Searcy, and you're close to the New Line offense and that program. And then Coach McNabb, you're over there quite a bit also at Morrilton. This should be a crazy game.
I want to thank you for putting this on the list.
I did this on purpose.
You did it so friendships will be challenged.
Oh, that's exactly right. They're testing to see how close friends they really are,
I know you are. What in this game, we got two teams, Searcy and Morton, that have both had great seasons. That I think if you told either one of them at the beginning of the year, I think if you told Coach Clark at Searcy he'd go through 10 games and go 7-3, he'd have said, "I'm going to take it right now." And I know Coach McNabb, because I believe this was their first year in the 5A West, right?
Well, they were there for a long time. They've been out the last 2 years, yes.
But they've been out, and he wasn't sure what to expect. So taking an 8-2, he would have taken 8-2 the first week of August when we had before practice started. That being said, his quarterback's wearing things out right now. They just are scoring a bunch of points, but Searcy's the little engine that could. They just keep on coming. They battled injuries all year to key players. Last week, Curtis Goodrich rushed it for 39 carries, I think, something like that. So I'm going with the Searcy Lions, going with the hometown team.
Going with the Searcy Lions. The mouth is on record. All right, Coach Lynn, this one here, Morton's unbelievable explosive. Obviously, they scored 75 points against Farmington.
What was all that about?
Well, we can't figure it out.
I mean, 75 to 78 or something.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
It just kills my soul to think you got to score 70-something points to win a game. That's a basketball score. Matter of fact, it's even a high basketball score.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I tried to hire Zach one time. Known him. His father was Barry Jr.'s baseball coach at Arkansas, assistant coach when he was there. I mean, I've known the family a long time and just got such a great, affection for him and his family and what he does coaching. And then Cody is a good friend of my son's, Daniel, who was coaching for a while and knows Cody real well. So I look at their defense. I'm more inclined to, in my nature, just to go with that because of their defense. But I think Coach said they were giving up 29 points a game. I think Morton is.
Yeah.
So that bothers me that maybe this is not one of Cody's better defensive team. I don't know the history all through the whole the season, whether it's they've had injuries or they're playing in an exceptionally explosive league from top to bottom or not. It is at Morrilton, correct?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to pick Morrilton in this one because of the home field, and it's to me is just one of those you flip a coin and kind of see, at least from my perspective from the outside looking in.
Well, I'm with Coach. I think you flip a coin on this one, a turnover here and there. Here's what I'm going to take Searcy, and I'm going to tell you why. I saw something in Searcy last week I hadn't seen at Searcy in a long time. They had some guys injured. They battled back. BB takes control of the game, and they take the ball, and they just they ran it down BB's throat there at the end. I hadn't seen that, the physicality up front or just that mentality of having to find a way. I'm going to go with Searcy. Morrilton's defense scares me. Searcy's defense can scare you too going against Morrilton, but I'm going to go with the new line offense and Searcy. All right, here's the next one. You got Russellville at El Dorado. You got a 6A West team headed down to a 6A East team at El Dorado. Russellville, let me give you a little nugget here. They have gone on the road the last couple of years when they've been in the playoffs and have won that first round matchup against that conference. El Dorado is a different animal, longer drive. Daryl.
All right, Russellville. They got Russellville coming in. Luke Jones is their quarterback. He's thrown for over 1,700 yards, 13 touchdowns, played really well the last couple of weeks. They've got they're giving up 23, and they're scoring 23 points, but they're giving up 29 on the year defensively. Russellville's had a hard time stopping people. El Dorado is at home, like Coach Lunney said earlier. That's a trip that is pretty tough to make. You got El Dorado's coming off a big win over Sheridan. They're averaging about 37 points on the year. El Dorado is pretty explosive offensively. They're giving up 29 points also on defense. So the defenses are kind of at a wash right here. I think you got El Dorado at home. I think you got some experience there. I think Russellville is, it's one of those, are you glad to be in the playoffs or are you really glad to be in the playoffs kind of game? Yeah. And I think El Dorado's got bigger issues. I think that they're going to be there for a reason. They're getting to play at home too. So I'm going to take El Dorado on this one.
Taking El Dorado. Mouth, you're close to El Dorado. That program. Talk to us a little bit about that one.
Really, El Dorado's hard to figure to me. Some games they play really well. Some games they get beat pretty good. Russellville's got a long ways to travel to Union County. I'm gonna go with El Dorado in this one.
Mouth's going with El Dorado in this one.
And the reward for the winner of this game is a trip to Greenwood.
Yes, that's sometimes you can go too far.
Yeah.
All right, Coach Lunney, you've been to El Dorado. That's the trip that keeps on giving, obviously.
Oh, it does. Wonderful. Wonderful trip. Let me say this. It's a nice place. I mean, once you get there, it's if you just go on not to play a football game, you just go, it's a pretty interesting historic town, and there's a lot of interesting things there. But getting there, like I said, I'm gonna go with the tradition too. There is an expectation in El Dorado, Jeff, as you well know, to win championships, and not just to get to the playoffs, but to win a lot of games. So I think that the trip itself, and somebody mentioned it too. It is an expectation that people have in the community. I think that's when you look around from state to state. Most of us guys know coaches and different programs in different states, and you can continue to see, not every year, but year in, year out, the same teams winning. There's expectations in communities, school boards. They grow up that way. And so that El Dorado is one of those places.
Coach is going with El Dorado. I think it's a toss-up, and I'll give you guys a history lesson because I was part of it. Russellville and El Dorado had about a 3-year run in the playoffs against each other, and this was a long time ago. I know in 2000, Russellville went to El Dorado, beat El Dorado. El Dorado in 2001 goes to Russellville and beats them. And then the next year, Russellville goes back down to El Dorado and beats them. I think Coach Wheeler and them get them ready to go here, but I think Coach Hill last week was a big game, not scoring those 84 points. And I'm going with tradition a little bit, and I'm going to go with El Dorado, even though I think Russellville's going to give them a great game. All right, this next one, Coach Lunney, you'll be real familiar with all these next teams here. All right, Daryl, also, we got Cabot at Springdale. You got Scott Reed coming up here to Springdale. Springdale's had a great season. Coach Hobbs, they've done a phenomenal job. Even, he's had to deal with some stuff off the field and things like that, but they are rolling. Cabot's coming in here, played pretty good the last couple of weeks. Daryl, break it down.
Well, Cabot is your old school Cabot, really. They're not real explosive. They like, long sustained drives, don't turn the football over. They've been it looks like they've kind of figured out their secondary a little bit too. So they coming off a big win last week against North Little Rock. Kind of got rolling there, 42-3 last week. So they got some momentum going into it. I think they're trying to get healthy a little bit too. Springdale, these guys they've done everything that you're supposed to do to win games. They've kept the turnovers at bay. They've been good on special teams, really good defensively. They've gotten the quarterback hurt a little bit, and hopefully they'll have him back for the playoffs. They get a first home playoff game since maybe 2016.
Yeah.
I think it's 2016 was the last time they actually got to play at home. And it's weird. They're averaging 28 points. Springdale is. They're giving up 24. Of course, they're playing in the 7A West there. Cabot, they've been battling Bryant and Conway's, and then you get on the wrong end of some crooked numbers there. So they're actually giving up almost 36 points a game on the season. They're averaging about 24. I think this is one of those games too. Turnovers are going to be huge, of course. The short fields are going to be huge. Special teams, anything that comes about that, and look for some little trickery there. I look for a little, halfback pass, or maybe like we'll throw a bubble screen and back to the quarterback. Something crazy is going to happen. One of these guys is going to pull it off. But Springdale at home, they got to have some juice. They'll be fired up. Got that big, huge jumbotron down there on the end zone. Gerald Williams Stadium. I mean, it should be rocking there. So I'm going to take Springdale at home.
Fimp's going with Springdale.
I've been a big Red Dog fan all year.
You've been.
I think it's a great story. I think it's a great story.
You have been on the wagon all year with the Red Dogs.
And Coach Reed's still mad at me because it's Fayetteville game.
Well, that's right. He hadn't talked to you since.
Fired him up.
Yeah,
got him murdered by Fayetteville. My bad, Coach Reed.
Great job. Yeah, he hadn't spoken to you either.
No, he doesn't like
it. It happens. It happens, guys. All right, Mal.
When Coach Reed gets on the bus to head to Northwest Arkansas, he does magical things in Northwest Arkansas on playoff Friday nights. He beat a really good Bentonville team 3 years ago. One of Coach Grant's good teams. He beat them, and in a close one, I'm going with the Cabot Panthers.
Mouth is going with the Cabot Panthers. Coach Lunney, you probably give us more insight on this because I know you keep that 7A West. And Brett Hobbs them done a phenomenal job, but also tradition Coach Reed brings in and his experience in the playoffs, and he does a great job.
Derek Moore, one of my players at Southside, is one of the defensive coaches. This is a game that I'm going to try to go to and see. It's Scott and I go way back, and I have so much respect for his coaching ability. He is exceptionally coaches can have great game plans and they got to be executed, but he always has a good game plan. And he'd be like any of us to tell you, hey, that wasn't a good game plan this week, but he really is well prepared. When you go against certain people, you better make sure you take care of all the details. And that's Scott. And, I see that they're getting better. They too have played some tough teams, Springdale. I watched them against Rogers, who I think is a really good football team, especially offensively, and also against Bentonville. Didn't see the Fayetteville game, but they're both of them are similar situations. They've gotten beat by the top dogs in their league. It is at Springdale. Something exciting. Did you say it's first time, Daryl? Was it first time in
2016?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Cabot, it hadn't been that long. And so those kids are kind of used to it. I have a hard time saying this because my kind of prejudice, I guess, for the West. I mean, I used to be the West. I don't know what we are anymore. The Northern Conference, whatever it is. They break them up. Have they broke them up since last time?
No,
it's still
maybe they did it 2 weeks ago. Now we're down to 6. But anyway, I'm gonna go with Cabot, and I wasn't going to when I first looked at this, but the more I've kind of thought about it and listened to you guys, the experience that Scott brings might just be the difference. It might offset that home field advantage.
Well, and I'm with you. In Cabot, it's like they found their niche just a little bit. Like we talked about, they played the Bryants and the Conways kind of early, and PAs, and they played them Plastic Academy real tough. Last couple of weeks, you can see them kind of get guys healthy and back. I'm gonna go with Cabot also. I think it's a close game. I think it's a turnover game.
I think might interrupt here, but I think as Daryl was saying a while ago about some trick, some type of play, something to do. It made me think of Cabot when he was talking about that. Mike Malham was always going to run the guard around. You always knew that was coming somewhere in the game. So there's still that in the chest there, somewhere deep in a closet, something still left in Cabot for trick plays. Scott's pretty good at that, so I'm gonna be disappointed if I don't see something.
Yeah.
He'll probably dress Coach Malham out and run the guard around with Coach Malham. Don't Scott Reed, man. You never know. Oh my gosh. All right, guys, here we go. Small school game of the week right here. If I'd ever thought this, it's amazing how the world has changed a little bit. We got Walnut Ridge, who's been over in that conference. They've Rivercrest, Osceola, Newport, and they were picked to win that conference by the coaches at the beginning of the year, headed to Rising, who got beat before Fordyce 2 weeks ago. Unbelievable matchup. They're too huge. Walnut Ridge is huge, and making that trip, Daryl, this one here, man, two images of the same team.
Well, I mean, how can you get more football than football? Walnut
Yeah.
Ridge Rising. I mean, seriously, come on. I mean, it's like a blockbuster game right here, right off the chute. You got Walnut Ridge, like we said, in the East. That's just unbelievable. I think they finished 4th.
They did.
I mean, they're the best sport team ever in 3A football, probably. They have averaged over 33 points a game on the year. Enrique Perez, that guy on the outside, he's phenomenal. He had 2 touchdowns last week against Hoxie. Jersey Cunningham, that's the guy. That's the quarterback. He can run it and throw it. He's over almost 1,800 yards of total offense himself this year. He was the guy that everybody was kind of keying on at Walnut Ridge. And him being healthy and going on the road to Rising. How would you like that? You get 4th in the league and you get to go to Rise. Like we talked about in that league, somebody's going to be 4 and still have a chance to win it.
Yeah.
So here's their chance to make a statement game here, because if you eliminate somebody like Rising, you absolutely give yourself a better chance. Rising, though, on the year is averaging 32 points a game. They're giving up 12. They're giving up 12 points a game. Rising. Christian, I like to call this guy Christian Superman Reeves. Get that? That's a tricky one. He's over 1,100 yards on the ground, 17 touchdowns. Rising likes to pound it inside. Really good, especially from center to guard. They're really good up front. So Rising on the year, like I said, is scoring a ton of points. They're at home. I think Walnut Ridge is, they're going to get out there and go, hey, man, this is just like everybody else in our league. I don't think they're going to be frightened by Rising at all. But I think the trip's going to get them. I think Rising at home is going to win this one.
Going with Rising.
So I'm going Rising.
Going Rising. Fimp's going Rising. Mouth.
A trip from Walnut Ridge to Rising is not easy. Is not easy. So I'm going to say Walnut Ridge is gonna see a bad moon arising Friday night. I'm going with Rising.
Mouth's going with Rising. Coach Lunney, you talk about a trip now. Walnut Ridge to Rising, Arkansas. My God.
My first trip down that road through Sheridan, when I went to Fordyce from Sheridan, down there you get on these, it's what I call levee roads. You're driving up and you got swamps on either side of you. And I thought, what in the world have I got myself into? You run off the road, the alligator will eat you, and they'll never find you. I mean, you talk about making you focus on your road. I mean, I don't know if y'all have been through that road. I'm sure you have, but it's don't go to the right. No, there's no lines on the side of the road. I mean, anyway, I've had a chance to be in some really good rivalries. Rivalries to me are games are against somebody that it means something, right? That games mean something. A lot of people use the word rivalry real loosely when one team beats the other, town every year for 100 years, 100 to nothing. They call it a rivalry. That's not a rivalry. Rivalry is when something. When I was at Fordyce and Rising, there was not a better rivalry anywhere in that part of the state. I can promise you that. The lawn chairs are out. They start them and sitting around. It was a new experience for me and how intense it was in that rivalry. And I know Clay's moved on, but Clay Toddy was one of our players at Fordyce and went over there and did a good job. So I know a lot about that program. And I just got to go with them. That's a tough place to play. Coach said they were giving up 12 points a game. I'd say, yes, I'm not pulling against somebody, but I just like to see a good defensive team and somebody that can still play, that's doing that in this day and age. That's really incredible. Think about that.
Well,
so I'm going with them.
Going with Rising. Well, I've talked to a lot of coaches about this game, and a lot of people think Walnut Ridge can go down there to Rising to beat them. But those coaches I was talking to are not having to get on the bus and make that trip. So I'm going to go with Rising because I think the trip gets them. But I tell you what, Walnut Ridge is huge, and this will be a very close game.
Well, Walnut, they just need to be prepared for sometime during the game, a couple deer bucks running across the field or something, Somebody may shoot it, too, while the game is
Yeah. Could happen.
It's unique. It's like when I was at Fordyce also, if you bear with me, we went to play Warren, and what's their mascot? Lumberjacks, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they scored a touchdown early on us when I was at Fordyce, and I hear all these, well, there's chainsaws. They start chainsaws up there. I don't know if they're still doing it, but they're over there running these chainsaws. It's like Friday the 13th or something. And they were, when I was there, they were striking up the chainsaw quite a bit that night.
We'll have to talk to Uncle Bo.
That is great, man.
There's some great traditions and things around the state. That's it really is fun. We love our state. I've told these college coaches that have come here to Arkansas when I've had a chance to talk to them, I said, you got to understand, we're just different. Everybody's connected, related. From the Lake Village to Bentonville to El Dorado up to to Blytheville, and it's different. It's a lot of great traditions, a lot of great programs across our state, and just a lot of history. It's a lot of fun.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, guys, let's hit the big school here. Big school game of the week. This is a very interesting matchup. Before we got Camden Fairview at Harding Academy. Before we do that, let's bring on our Lindsey and associated guest, head football coach of Camden Fairview, Nick Vaughn. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Coach, let's get into it a little bit. I mean, you've had a phenomenal year. You probably played in the toughest 5A conference, I think, that any other conference in the state of Arkansas in the 5A division. You're sitting there, played Parkview last week, had the lead in the fourth quarter. Nobody's done that in a long, long time besides Brian earlier this year. Talk to us a little bit about your progression. We've been watching you, talking about you on the show. Talk to your progression about how your team's processed through the year and going into the playoffs.
Well, we offensively, we started off the year pretty good. And I mean, it helps when you have a senior quarterback and then you got a do-it-all guy like Trent Haygood that can play receiver. He plays running back. He kicks, he punts, returns kicks, all those kinds of things. He's our gadget guy. But we've got a lot of really good skill kids on offense, and we've been explosive. But we had to replace all 5 of our all linemen, and that bunch is kind of every week they're getting better and better. But the biggest thing is we had a big turnover defensively, and we've been an even front team, and because of personnel, we had to go to that odd front. So first couple weeks, it took some tweaking and just trying to figure out best body, best placement, how we should fit a little bit better, change our coverages up a little bit. And next thing you know, we're here. We went toe to toe with Parkview, man. We had them in our grasp and just let them through. Tell you what, they're a heck of a football team, as everybody in America knows. But I thought we played extremely well against them. Hopefully it parlays us into maybe a deep run in the playoffs.
Well, and you nailed it. And to be honest, we talked about it last week before going into that game. Y'all probably played them as well as anybody has the last 2 years also in the state of Arkansas. But let's move on here. Let's, you got Harding Academy. Let's kind of talk about them a little bit. Coach Evans and them defending 4A state championship last year, moved up to 5A. They beat their schedule up, had Marion and Benton them early in the season, kind of struggled there. Caught Valley View early in the conference, who's a very good football team, won the 5A East. And then they kind of just been quiet, but just kind of been stacking wins over there, and they get the 2 seed. Tough place to play. them a little bit, and talk to us a little bit about the problems Owen Miller brings and the Harding Academy brings to you guys this coming Friday night.
Extremely well coached, as you would expect with a team that won multiple state championships, tons of games. Coach Evans does a great job there. The next thing that jumps out at you is how hard they play.
Yeah.
From the first kid that gets off the bus to the last one that they put on the field. I know they don't have just a huge roster compared to everybody else, but those kids play extremely hard. Obviously the bird dog of it all is Owen Miller. I don't know how else you can describe him other than he just does everything with his legs, with his arm. He kind of has that little Patrick Mahomes feel to him that he gets out of the pocket and just makes plays, just makes stuff happen. We've got to do a really good job of containing him and not letting him just beat us all over the place because of that. I think that they have a running back that's really good, Isaac Baker, number 20. I know he's been a little banged up, but we anticipate him to be full go for this run. He kind of does a lot for them, both in the passing game and running the football. And then obviously defensively, they fly around to the football, very aggressive. I tell you what, they got a D lineman, number 55, last name Harris. Now, he's having to play a little bit of O-line right now, but he's special. He is special. He's a big kid. He's probably 6'3", 255. Plays extremely hard, as you'd expect. We got to know where he is at all times. And then, as you'd expect in a Harding area, there is another Simmons boy that everybody has to deal with, believe it or not. And if it's anything like his genes of his father, his name is Tanner Simmons. Obviously, he's wearing the number 10, just like his older brother did. And he's a young one, but you can tell he's got it in him. He's a heck of a football player. He plays the linebacker position. They basically just took his brother's spot. And he has progressively gotten better throughout the year. He is just – he sees ball, hit ball. He just goes and tracks it. And so we've got to do a really good job of putting hat on a hat. They score in bunches with their tempo, just with their playmaking ability. Their kids have been very well coached in scramble drill rules. You even just down to their old lineman coach that all of a sudden, I don't know if they're making calls or what, but they could get a feel for he's out of the pocket and they got their head on a swivel and they're working up and down the line of scrimmage, looking to pick people off because they know we give him a minute, he's going to make a play. And the same thing with their receivers. They bend it back, scramble drill rules. One goes high, one goes low, one goes middle, and just it's really I don't know. It ain't fun to watch, I guess, if you got to coach against them. But it's fun to watch if you're a fan of football because they're very well coached. They play really hard, and they're a really good football team. We've got our work cut out for us.
No doubt. And let's kind of go back to last year a little bit. You went on the road last year in this playoff, went long ways last year, deep in the playoffs. You know how to do that. You got a good little trip over to Harding. It's not a hop, skip, and a jump from Camden. Talk to us a little bit. What's your mindset? How do you get, it's the end of the year. Everybody's got bumps and bruises. How you get your guys to the highest level this week?
Well, I think the advantage for us is we try to be strategic. I can't even talk. We have to plan ahead, right?
Yeah.
We will make sure that we've experienced certain things throughout the year. And one of the things that we made sure of is we played in that Sonic Air Raid at Harding University. Our kids are familiar with it. And even going back to last year, we stopped there for a walkthrough. Our kids are familiar with the area, familiar with a little bit of the trip. Our kids kind of embrace the road dog mentality. It's not that we don't enjoy playing at home, but we kind of remove from our normalcy of our normal environment where we kind of we could get a little more distracted than usual. And our kids have just embraced that of, hey, this is how we travel. This is what we do. It's just another football game on the schedule. And we do a great job of trying to make sure we prepare them in advance of what trips look like, how it's going to be broken down. And our kids have enjoyed playing on the road. And, especially after last year, we played Boonville early in the year to prepare us for those playoff runs. We played 4 straight weeks on the road or 3 straight weeks on the road in the playoffs last year. And we got a lot of that same group that are here. So they've got a familiarity with it. They're not afraid of it. It just, it's what it is. Hey, let's just go play ball.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you've done it. I mean, not just at Camden, but you've been a part of it in other places too, with long runs and state championships and things like that. All right, hit me with this. Breaking this down, I went and watched some of your film, went back and kind of watched some Harding Academy late because I saw them a lot earlier, hadn't seen them much in the middle. Talk to me. I look at your film, the upfront wise and different parts of the skill guys and so does Harding Academy. What is something that if you're just a common fan, you're going to look, what's a huge matchup that you think that's vital for both teams they got to win?
I think it a couple of different things. And then I'll start with, I think our DBs have got their work cut out for them this week. just because of all the things that they do. We've got to have a great week for us to have a chance to be successful. And you know, Jeff, you know this, and Bray, all you guys do. Championship football this time of year is going up front on both sides.
Yeah.
And we've got to do a great job up front. We got to win the line of scrimmage. Part of that is dominating as an lineman, that we can run the football, that we can do a great job in pass pro, and as D linemen, that we limit their opportunities in explosive plays with his feet and keeping him in the pocket so that he can't, take off and run and extend drives and extend plays. And then lastly, and this is not just coach speak, but the kicking game.
Yeah.
They have a fantastic kicker, as you'd anticipate them having. They onside kick a bunch, but he's a weapon with field goals, and then that's something that, I love my boy Trent to death, but he's wild hair when it comes to them kicks, and so, but I tell you what, I think we've moved up a freshman kicker for our extra points, going to take a little pressure off of Trent, and he's had a great season punting the football. Those things have got to continue to happen for us. And those are the main three things, I think. I think our DBs have got to play extremely well. We got to win the line of scrimmage, and we got to win the kicking game.
And I think you hit on all three. If I was jotting down, those things, and obviously, turnovers, things like that, which obviously everybody knows, and you got real specific, and I agree with everything you said. Well, Coach, we'll get you off here, let you get back to the lab and get to working on these guys a little bit more. And hey, you've had a phenomenal year, and hopefully it continues. Good luck Friday night.
I appreciate that. And I'll leave with this. I still don't think we've played 4 quarters of football yet. And that's exciting to be where we are and knowing that, hey, the best is yet to come for us if we'll just keep developing. But I tell you what, sure do appreciate you guys. Obviously, the mouth isn't on with us right this very minute, but I know I'll get a phone call.
Oh, you're going to get a phone call from the mouth, man. He's been
That's
worried.
Right.
He's been worried all weekend about this game, man. But back and forth. I think he's called me 4 times, breaking it down to 100 different ways, man. Mouth.
He won't sleep all week. That's for sure.
That's the truth. Well, Nick, thanks for coming on, man. We'll see you next time, man.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Right, buddy. Well, guys, Coach Vaughn was excited, Daryl, about his close game last week against Parkview. Played real well. Feels like his team's going in the right direction. Having to go to Harding Academy, and we talked about Harding Academy earlier in the year. Then they kind of got quiet and just kept on winning. This is a very interesting matchup. Talk to me. Give us some stats on this one.
Well, we talked about early in the year, we thought Harding Academy's first, 3 games were kind of going to be a test because they went out there and tested themselves early on with the move up. And then we talked about them last year, like, hey, you win too much, you get bumped up now. So they got bumped up. Like I said, I think it took them some adjustments, especially on the defensive side of the ball for Harding Academy to come around, which they're playing actually better on the defensive side of the ball. Camden Fairview last week was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Played a heck of a game against Parkview. Daryl Atkins Jr., the quarterback, threw 2 touchdowns, one for 83 yards to Trent Haygood, who's over 1,100 yards of receiving this year. So Camden Fairview, like a typical Fairview team, really explosive on the outside. And like I said, the Atkins kid is a really good quarterback. They're averaging 42 points a game, giving up 18 on the year in that league. And like I said, it was 24-23 with 8 minutes left against Parkview. Threw a pick 6, kind of changed the game in that game, but they were with them, every second of that game. Harding Academy is coming in here off a 42-21 win over Brooklyn. They're averaging about 34 points a game defensively. At one time, defensively, they were giving up about 35 points a game. Now they got it down to about 26 points a game. Owen Miller has caught fire.
Yes.
In the last 2 games, he's thrown for over 700 yards and 10 touchdowns. He's also done it running the football, too. They figured out different ways to do that. It's the biggest question about them is, can their secondary hold up against Camden? Camden's got some explosive kids on the outside. Camden's going to make that travel there, and I think Vaughn's got big plans. I think Camden Fairview knows and realizes that they can play with anybody since they played with Parkview. And then once again, Harding Academy, the move up, they're preparing themselves for this game. But I'm going to take Camden Fairview to go on the road and beat Harding Academy. And Mouth, you okay? Everything good, Mouth?
Yeah, why?
Just checking on you, Mouth.
Yeah, here's what we got going, Mouth. Here Here's what we got going, Mouth. You've got the Fighting Vaughns against Harding Academy. You know both programs well. Talk to us a little bit about this one.
Oh, mercy goodness. It had to have, I didn't even know who, I called Coach Vaughn Saturday and said, who are you playing? He said, you don't know? I said, no. He said, Harding Academy. We're blowing in there Friday night. I said, good gracious. That's all I need. My niece being the cheerleader captain at Harding Academy. Coach Vaughn blowing in here, one of my all-time favorites and really good friend. This is going to be an interesting game for Harding Academy. Okay, Harding Academy hadn't seen anybody like Camden Fairview in about 8 or 9 weeks this year. For the Harding Academy, always in their games, a lot of them this year, with the exception of Valley View and Marion, and they play second. Benton. They're usually Harding Academy is usually the intimidators, if you know what I mean. Camden Fairview, I got news for you. They're not going to be intimidated by Harding Academy. Camden Fairview's got a lot of speed. That'll be a challenge for Harding Academy. That being said, I got to go with Harding Academy.
Oh my God! Are you kidding me, man?
Gosh,
Wow!
gosh, man! All that we knew what was going to happen.
We knew it, Mouth. You should have got to it right there. We knew
all that. We knew exactly where
you're sugarcoating it for Coach Vaughn. We know what's going on.
Yeah. I hope he brings you a shirt that says "Go Cardinals."
I'm getting a shirt. I can guarantee.
Oh yeah.
I've been waiting for 5 years for one from Scott Reed.
Yeah.
He tells me I gave you enough El Dorado shirts. I said, Dad gave me those.
Oh, that's exactly right. All right, Coach Lunney, got Camden Fairview headed to Harding Academy, man. This ought to be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great matchup. When I saw this and looked a little bit back in the records and people that played, I thought this is going to be a really, really good game. The one problem I've got with Camden Fairview, let's say problem, is coming off the game it did show that they can play with anybody. When I first saw that, I thought, wow, this bunch is really good, and they are. But maybe better than I thought they might be. The thing I'm thinking about now is they put so much into that game last week. Just such an emotional game and being right there with it. Can they recover emotionally going somewhere on the road? And I think probably overall athletically, and this is going to be something that Harding Academy speed is not going to see anything probably like this. I would, overall, if Camden Fairview can weather the first quarter or so and not get too, when I say get behind and let Harding get out in front and dictate the flow of the game, then I think Camden's going to win this game. It's going to be a close game. That's a big if. So what do? I don't know that they can. I think because of that, and you never know how kids react. You really don't know how they react. But I'm probably going to say they're going to weather the storm and get through it in a close game. And that's going to be the key. I'm going to go with Camden Fairview.
Coach going Camden Fairview. I'm going to go with Camden Fairview also. I'm going to tell you why. They did it last year, and I know last year doesn't matter, but they got a lot of the same kids. They got on the road last year and went to some places and had to win in some tough environments, and they did it. I think it's a close game. I think Coach Lunney made a good point. Harding Academy is going to be jacked up. They're going to be ready to go. They're playing with a lot of confidence right now. They're used to winning in the playoffs. So is Camden, but they can weather that storm earlier on. I think the physicality and part can take over. So I'm going to go with them. Well, guys, let's do this to sum up our week 10, our picks last week. It was interesting. We all had a great week, and we're going to start this thing all over. But the regular season, last week I was 8-2. Mouth, you were 8-2. Daryl, you were 9-1. Our guest picker, Lindsey was 9-1. My overall record for the season was 76-35. Mouth was 74-37. Daryl, you were 72-39, and our guest picker was 71-30. So that's our regular season. So these picks here we go. Everybody's 0-0, just like everybody else in playoffs. So
I just want to know what Kenny did. That's all I care about. Kenny's all I care about.
Coach, I hate to say we didn't have a good week that week. Nobody had a good week.
It was a bad week. And Kenny picked everybody that he knew as friends.
Jeff already kind of heads me up on that. So yeah, just as long as I beat Hit Smith, that's all right.
Exactly.
We're trying to get Coach Smith in the Hall of Fame. He's trying to get some votes. He's trying to swing his way.
Oh man, well, it was good. Coach, we'll be checking your work. Well, let me do this. Let's go ahead and give let's do this. Bray Cook, one of our guys, he'll be back on the podcast here in a couple of weeks with us, does it. The Mallet Foundation, they had a bunch of ex-Hogs out there yesterday, Saturday, and our guy Bray Cook was the MVP of the game. He said he was extremely sore this morning, but he was the MVP for a good cause.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's go ahead and thank our sponsors again. It's powered by Lindsey and Associate, All-American Steakhouse in Springdale, and the Pigs brand. Coach Lunney, we appreciate you coming on. And since you came on, we're going to send you some Coaches in the Mouth gear and a gift card to All-American Steakhouse for $100. Go over and get a steak. And the crab dip, Coach, make sure your wife and you guys get the crab dip. It's really good stuff.
Thank you very much. It's been fun. Really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me.
Good stuff. Well, also, guys, you've seen on our Instagram page or story or merch is out there. You can get hats, shirts, t-shirts, get a hoodie. Also, make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button. We are on Instagram, Coaches Pod, and X is Coaches Pod, and Facebook. So, well, for Coach Jeff Williams, Coach Daryl Fimple, and the Mouth Brent Bender, and our guest picker, Hall of Famer Coach Barry Lunney, we'll see you next time.